Okay. So in this presentation, we'll be checking on the different methods of the recombination, different methods by which recombination occur. The first one is random assortment and reshuffling of genetic material in sexual reproduction. This happens during the process of fertilization. Fertilization, it is actually the fusion of gametes from two parents, isn't it? So when gametes from two parents unite to produce a new individual, um, there occurs random assortment of the genetic material as well. Okay, fertilization itself is a random process, and so the genes also recombine randomly at fertilization. Chromosomes and genes, it gets shuffled and reshuffled during fertilization, and subsequent cell divisions also this is continued, and this happens by segregation, independent assortment, and crossing over. I hope you remember these terms when you had gone through your genetic classes. Segregation, that is separation of the homologous chromosomes or even the sister chromatids during the process of the division, isn't it? Independent assortment, again you are familiar with. So all these are responsible for bringing about the shuffling and reshuffling of chromosomes and genes, and this results in the production of individuals with different gene combinations. Okay, that is what is referred as a recombination. Fine. Now the second method by which recombination occurs is the process of heterozygosis. Heterozygosis, it is the cross between two kinds of homozygous parents resulting in the formation of a hybrid. Okay, it can be otherwise referred as hybridization. So what is heterozygosis? It is actually, zygosis word comes from zygote, and hetero means different, isn't it? So zygote do have different variation of the same trait. Okay, so it can be heterozygosis can be defined as a cross between two individuals or two homozygous parents resulting in the formation of a hybrid. Okay, genes from different gene pools are thus brought together by the process of hybridization, and this results in the production of new varieties and species. Okay, I hope you can remember like the cross between capital T and small t. So capital T was the homozygous tall, and small t was the homozygous recessive, isn't it? Dwarf, right? So when it underwent a fertilization, it resulted in capital T small t combination, right? So that one was actually a heterozygote, okay, or it was a hybrid. So this process is known as heterozygosis. Okay. Now crossing of a hybrid to its parent species, it is a back cross, isn't it? So capital T small t, when it is crossed back with the small r, that what does it indicate? It is a back cross. Okay, so crossing of a hybrid to its parent species, it is known as introgressive hybridization. Okay, it is introgressive hybridization, and as a result, some genes of one species are introduced into the genotypes of another species, thereby increasing the genetic variability. What does it indicate? Is like so when it is being crossed, especially we can get examples from plant kingdom. Okay, there are plenty of examples from there. Okay, so that is referred as a heterozygosis. Okay, now crossing over, it happens during the process of meiosis, and it results in the exchange of genes between non-sister chromatids of homologous chromosomes. Okay, while gene flow, it is a migration of individuals from one population to another, and this may introduce new genes to the population. Gene flow means when we were speaking with respect to ecology, it was immigration, emigration, migration, etc. But when we are speaking with respect to the genes or the evolutionary point of view, it is a gene flow. Okay, so what happens is whenever there is a movement of individuals from one population to another, obviously in both the population there is change in the allelic frequency. Okay, change in the genetic frequency. Okay, so that kind of a migration is referred as the gene flow. There are many other factors and forces that play important role in producing genetic variations, and these are isolation, genetic drift, and natural selection. Uh, Populations may be isolated from each other by geographic factors, environmental factors, and so that interchange of genes between them is prevented. For example, if there is a large ocean between two land masses, obviously even if there are same species, members of same species on either land mass, both the land masses, it cannot interbreed, it cannot exchange, there cannot be genetic exchange between the two groups or two populations, isn't it? So that kind of isolation is what is referred as the what you call environmental or geographical isolation. Okay, so populations may be isolated from each other by geographic environmental factors, so that genetic interchange or genetic exchange between them is prevented. And within such isolated populations, other elemental forces of evolution like mutation, recombination, natural selection and genetic drift may occur independently and differently, resulting in genetic divergence. Just imagine there are two islands, and these two islands are widely separated by a large water body. Okay, and these two islands do have individuals of the same kind of a species. Okay, but what happens is the environmental conditions on these two obviously the members of the population of the species cannot interbreed, cannot just imagine, it cannot breed and give rise to offsprings. Okay, that they are isolated, completely isolated. Now these two islands may have different environmental conditions, and due to these environmental conditions, the individuals of the population may be adapting to the respective environment. So on island A, just imagine it is very cold, or the temperature is very low, and the conditions are very different from the island B. Okay, so individuals surviving on island A has to develop variations so that they can adapt themselves to the conditions prevailing in island A. Okay, in island B, the environmental conditions are different from island A, and obviously the individuals of the species may have to develop adaptations suiting to island B. That will be different from those kind of adaptations or variations developed in among the members. It will be obviously different from those that have developed by the members on the island A. So that is what the natural selection process, or the what you call forces of evolution refer to. Okay, it may occur differently, and hence even independently. So it results in different kind of genetic variations, especially if the isolated population is very small. Genetic drift will bring about changes in gene frequency, either by destroying or preserving certain genes by pure chance. Genetic drift, in the sense, again it is movement. Okay, there is a population, and from there just imagine few of the members of that population is moving out. What happens there? It is a genetic drift. Okay, that is a gene flow, it is a genetic drift. There is a shift from the already existing gene pool to the another one. This will be discussing when we discuss about the genetic drift. At that time it will be a little more clear. Okay. Now, natural selection will act in these subpopulations upon genetic variability already present by favoring certain gene or gene combinations to survive. So, however, only those genes which produce useful variations will be favored by natural selection, and others will be eliminated. So, such genes will be inherited, that is, those favorable genes will be inherited and others will be eliminated from the population. This is what we have mentioned in the natural selection by Charles Darwin, isn't it? So, such favorable genes will get inherited, and as a result, genetic diversity is established in a population, which is the first step towards the origin of species. Okay. And thus, variation, heredity, natural selection must work together for producing the evolutionary change. So, any one of the force cannot bring about the speciation process. All these have to work together to bring about the speciation process. Okay. So, we have seen the different methods by which recombination happens. One is random assortment, the heterozygosis, crossing over, and gene flow. Okay. And then we also saw the various other factors that can bring about genetic variations in a population, like isolation, genetic drift, and natural selection. Okay. So, this is all about it.